Welcome everyone to another episode. Today I'm joined by Aglaia Orfanidou from Mindspace. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's lovely to have you. I think the listeners would like to know a bit more about Mindspace. So can you tell everyone about that?
Of course. Mindspace is a non-profit organization with two entities, one in Greece and one in the USA. And our main purpose is to cultivate the entrepreneurial spirit among the youth and also help them to be more active in the political, social, and economical life under the aspect of volunteerism and business. And we also aim to create networks between students in order for them to engage their peers in the entrepreneurial and educational initiatives.
Okay, can you tell me about how is the collaboration or the symbiosis, maybe you can call it, between the operations that you have in Greece and in the US?
We have established a great network in the USA that they are assisting us with our initiatives. And one of our main programs are the Mindspace trips. We organize 2 Mindspace trips per year, one in Boston, which has a more educational character, and one in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, which has a more entrepreneurial aspect. And in these trips, we organize meetings in well-established businesses, in colleges, universities, incubators, accelerators, and consulting firms. And our network in the USA help us to do so and to organize these meetings.
Because the ecosystem in Greece and the ecosystem in the US, they're very different. Was it that was it a deliberate choice to make it in the US, or what was the thought process behind that?
The main idea is to introduce to the Greek youth the entrepreneurial landscape that there is in the USA, as we think that it is more innovative. And this will might give them some business ideas to implement here in Greece, or if they want, they can expand their businesses in the USA, as we also help them to bring them in contact with some investors, and they are Greek. The Greek diaspora in the USA that they are investors, and they are very willing to help us.
When it comes to finding the right startups to the program, how do you work to really find the ones that will bring the most to you?
Mm-hmm. We don't engage so much people that they are already have established a startup. The main idea is to help young people, especially university students and recent graduates, to start with an idea about a startup, and we wish to cultivate this mentality and then help them to reach to the next stages until they bring their idea in a phase that it is ready to start with a startup, but then we end up there, and then they can join an accelerator or an incubator. But we also can help them to be in touch with this kind of institutions.
And what is the biggest challenge to work with such early age idea stage startups?
There is not a big challenge. I think that the main thing is to help them understand the basics of the entrepreneurship, and that's why in the other program that we implement, the Mindspace University, we also have 2 or 3 educational sessions about entrepreneurship in general, and very basic things like the business model canvas or the entrepreneurial landscape, or features that entrepreneurs should have. And we also implement in the next phase some webinars, like for accounting or for the legal form that their startup should have. So very basic things, except of implementing sessions about the specific topic that they are interested in. So I think that this is the challenge, to introduce them to the basics of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Now you mentioned it a little bit, but what do you do on a weekly basis and on a monthly basis?
In a monthly basis, we organize 2 times per year the Mindspace University program, which is an educational program plus an entrepreneurial competition that it lasts 3 months. And so we implement 6 months per year this program, and the other months we organize it. And we also organize the Mindspace trips in the USA, and we also organize 2 trips per year, but now we wish to expand our destinations, and we are about to also organize another Mindspace trip, a new one to New York in summer. And after that, we are also thinking of some destinations in Europe and Asia. And we also have some smaller projects and initiatives, like some webinars or some on-site events. And right now, we are also working on gaining some European funds and implement some Erasmus projects.
Okay, that's interesting. Feels like you have a lot of things going on at the moment. When you're doing a program, and there's a lot of trends all the time with startups, how do you approach that? Like, what are your views on, should a trend influence a startup program, or should you shy away from it? How do you approach it?
And so, of course, they can influence a bit our programs, like, because we are trying to introduce more innovative things to participants, and as they are young people and they are more interested in the trends and in innovation. So of course we try to have a more innovative approach in both thematic area and the sessions in the university program. For example, the next one will be about life sciences, and we wish to focus more on digital health and biotech. That we see that digital health is a big trend in healthcare startups. And yes, I think in this way we are influenced by the new trends.
So a bit of keeping a balance to be updated with current trends and current popularities among startups, but to be up to date, essentially.
Yes, exactly.
And when you're working to find mentors and picking them, how do you decide which mentor is right?
Okay, that's a very good question, because right now I'm working on finding the mentors for the next phase, and it is very challenging. First of all, we wish to cover as many different aspects as we can. So we have to find the mentors working on different things and topics. And we also need some of them to be university professors, some of them to be entrepreneurs, and some of them to be people that working in well-established and big companies. So they need to have a range. And the way that we try to reach them, it's usually via social media and via LinkedIn. We are doing research first in some other conferences, and we see the topics that they talk about, or if we see their whole sessions to have an idea on how they can introduce an educational session. Or we are looking through entrepreneurial magazines, entrepreneurial websites and articles about which companies are about success, or they are already succeed in thematic areas that we wish to work on. So we are doing some research, and then we engage them through LinkedIn and other social media. And also our already established network sometimes help us to reach out to people. Like I mentioned before, we have a well-established network in the USA, so they are usually introduce us to people that they already know there. So this is the process.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that it's a quite complex process, and you have to be a bit creative and finding the right people to join.
But this is my favorite thing to do in the programs, to find the mentors.
And do you have any specific criteria when you are looking for a mentor that you feel like a certain type of boxes that they need to fill?
First of all, they need to have a great experience and to work a lot of years on it. I making a research on their educational background, also in the organization or the enterprise or the business that they work. What is the specific role, and we are discussing on which are their specific tasks. So I need to know what kind of experience they are able to transfer to the audience. And one other important thing is also to be able to express themselves and express and transfer their knowledge in a nice way, like to be like professors, and that they can implement a very good educational sessions to make it more interactive, to be ready to answer to questions. So there are a lot of criteria.
Yes, definitely. And in terms of securing funding, which is the biggest issue for a lot of people who are running programs, do you have any advice to share on how to do that?
I don't have a specific advice. We use different sources of funding. We right till now we were more focusing on securing fundings from great foundations, or until now we had the support from the USA Embassy in Greece, in the Mindspace University. So we're using more funds that were coming from other organizations or foundations or enterprises in Greece. And it's time we have another supporter. Right now, for the next round of the Mindspace University, we will be supported by the Libra Group. But now we also wish to focus on European funds and to apply for European programs like Erasmus. And we also trying to secure some funds from other organizations in Europe, not exactly European funds, but some grants or sub-grants of other organizations. So yes, I could say that we are trying to be more internationalized.
And maybe look a little bit here and there for different opportunities.
Yes, exactly. We are trying to look for a new kind of funds, for open calls, for grants and sub-grants every time.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And also having the network in the US with all the enormous capital and chances that is there must be also a great advantage to have.
Yes, exactly. And because we are also doing some fundraising, so these people are willing to help with the fundraising.
Yeah. If someone is in the early stages, maybe just an idea stage of starting a startup program, do you have any advice to give to somebody who is just in the early stages?
Yes, first of all, he or she has to have a very good vision of their idea and to be able to make a lot of changes. That's what I've noticed during the Mindspace program, that during the mentoring sessions, they have to do a lot of changes and their idea might be very different from the one that they had in mind when starting working on it. But when you're doing research on the market research and the research on the competition and the cost analysis and everything, you are figuring out that you have to change a lot of things, and you should be ready to implement these changes and not be stuck in the vision that you have when starting imagining the idea.
Oh, so it's a bit like running a startup in that sense that you have to be really adaptable. So the startup funders have to be really quick to adapt, and the same with the programs.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine that is a lot of things that you wouldn't expect that you all of a sudden you just need to quickly adapt and change a lot. Do you have an example of when you had to do that?
Mm, not us. I'm talking about the enterprise, the not the enterprises, the teams that they are working on business ideas. In the last round, a lot of them, I've shown their business model canvas, and I've shown that they were working on different ideas, and they were about to create a production on a specific product. And after 1 month, I've shown that they were focusing on different products, keeping the process of production that they had before. So I had to ask them, and they told me that they found out that this was very challenging, that the mentors told them that it is really difficult to implement something like this in Greece. So they had to start with some other options until being ready to start a production for this specific product, as the technology here is not really ready to do so. So they had to make a lot of changes, and this was something that I heard from a lot of teams that they were working on their ideas.
Yeah, and I believe that the people in this industry are uh, prone to be able to adapt quickly and sensitive to the different changes in environment, so that you are a type of person that is already really adaptable, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah. It has been such a pleasure talking to you today. Do you feel like you want to add any final thoughts before we wrap up?
It was really good to having me, and thank you for having me. It was a very nice talk. The only thing I would like to add is that we are about to start launching the next round of Mindspace University and open the application. So this is a call for everyone interested in this type of initiatives and that they wish to establish a startup in the life sciences sector. We will be more than happy to having them in our next program, and it is also free. So
Yeah, so everyone should definitely apply. Yes. Thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me today. It was such a pleasure.
thank you too.